Just one. Here.
Yeah.
Remember that number one rule.
Don't die. Can you see me? Man, that's great.
Just shift over just a little. There you go.
You're not showing up.
I'm not.
No, you're.
It'll take a moment.
Yeah, you're.
It's a delay.
Yeah, it's
You're saying.
that's right. It should be recorded.
There's a 15-second delay.
15 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna get started. I'm Jason. I'm the owner, founder of the Survival University. Today we're going to be talking about Intro to Urban Preparedness and Self-Reliance. I am not your instructor today. I've got Chris and Slow from the TTG group, the Tactical Training Group with TSU. I've got like 16 different instructors under TSU now. Started out just me 15 years ago, and we've grown it pretty large. But anyways, I'm not going to talk here too long. We want to get this going. We only have 2 hours, so Chris is going to take over for me and talk about himself a little bit, and then we're getting going with the class.
Sorry about this speakers. We don't know how to turn this audio off here, so I'll just talk a little louder. So hey, I'm Chris. I retired from the Army recently and got into preparedness. I did 21 years, 18 years in the Special Forces. So this stuff is really fun to me. I enjoy it. I have a lot of passion for it. And my partner is named Damien. He goes by Slow. I'll let him introduce himself. Slow, you want to
Absolutely.
take a rundown of who you are?
My name's Slow. Thank you everybody for coming out. This is great. It's a great turnout. I have been with the TSU. I knew Jason through a mutual friend. Been with the TSU for about a year now. He tried to start the technical side of the group. Wanted some people to come in and help out. That's myself and my partner Chris. I spent 5 years in Marine Corps reconnaissance. Another 5 years in the DHS as like a SWAT officer, and then another 5 years in the Army doing more reconnaissance and special mission stuff, and then 10 years as a contractor, all over the world, meeting all different sorts of people, applying a lot of what you're seeing here as a civilian, in some non-permissive or some places that aren't, very friendly, and some countries that aren't very nice. So we're taking all the experiences that we have for a collective 50 plus years of experience, and then putting it into a class that everybody can use for every person.
So, just what we're going to cover today: situational awareness, defensive planning, everyday theory. Slow's going to cover that. We're going to take a short break, and I'm going to give you a lot of radio and food and water stuff. Feel free to ask questions. We can't go down too many rabbit holes because we only have 2 hours. But please, if you have questions, and just raise your hand, and we'll address it. All right. So Slow, you want me to unplug these speakers so we don't hear this?
That's fine. Okay.
Is the speakers bothering anybody? It's not too bad. Here, we can.
It is bothering you, unplug it.
Well, it's bothering me. Chris is annoying.
Get it, Chris.
Okay. Take it away.
Absolutely. Yes, full participation class. If you have questions, please ask. Like I said, we're trying to get into the stories, but if you have questions or concerns or anything that you just aren't sure about, please ask. This is for you guys. So first thing we're going to hit off is situational awareness. So we kind of like to start with that. Just because we start off like how I teach. What we're going to teach, why we're going to teach it, how we're going to teach it, we teach it. And the main thing is I want to start off with the individual, right? It always starts with us, and then we branch out from there. We want to make sure, I know we've all been in airplanes before, and they always tell you when the oxygen comes down, who do you give it to? You give it to yourself first. Before you can't help out your family members or children unless, if you're unconscious, right? So we want to work on ourselves. We want to develop ourselves, make ourselves more aware of our surroundings and the situations, and then why preparedness? We're all here for a reason, right? Why do we want to be prepared? I'm sure some of us, one, we just want to be prepared. We want to, anything can come down the line, right? We want contingencies. Anything can happen. So why not set ourselves up for success? Absolutely. And then self-reliance. We want to be self-reliant. So what are some of the things that we might encounter while we're out in society, in the world in general? Some recent stuff, man-made incidents, riots. I know we've seen that in the past 10 years. Those have been protests, large gatherings, crowded areas, societal collapse, war zones. Get a little bit extreme, doesn't mean it can't happen. Right? Look at some of the other countries that we have, the other side of the world, some of the places that Chris and I have worked at. Society collapses like real quick. There was those riots over in was it Myanmar or not Myanmar, but it was overnight. Overnight, the whole government collapsed, and it was just mayhem. Overnight, it's crazy.
Port of Florida,
There you go. Yeah, just
like 2 days ago or whatever that was.
yeah, just overnight, it went nuts. And not to say that it won't happen here, but could it happen here?
Even just the shootings
Yeah,
happening.
it's
You never know.
and we've seen it here with the civil rights back in the '60s and '70s. Things going nuts. Riots in LA. Though anybody that was over there in '92 when that went down, that was crazy. And then war zones. That's pretty extreme, but who's to say it won't turn into that overnight? Now we're not doing any doomsaying. We just want you guys to try and think outside the box and really open up like what are potentials, right? What are my contingencies? What could happen, and how am I prepared for it? And then natural disasters. Anybody here from the Midwest? Yeah, you know. Overnight. 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Right.
Absolutely. Then hail. Anybody here live down towards security? Security is obliterated. I don't know how you guys do it. And I go look at your car and tell you live there. All right.
That's,
Right. I can just tell. It looks like someone, the ball peen hammer went to work. Wildfires. That's a huge one. I live up in the mountains. Fire bad. That's a real bad thing. Wind. Anybody up here? Anybody here lives toward Woodland or toward the Divide? Yeah, it's been windy recently. It's been nuts. It's been crazy.
Was it that brownout on I-25?
Absolutely, a few days ago. Tragic, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Flood zones. Now we don't have flood zones here, but we do have what?
so,
We have snow, which turns into flash floods. Absolutely, flash floods here are very, very dangerous. People don't understand how dangerous, how fast a flash flood could happen. It's very, very dangerous. And then hurricanes. If we get a hurricane here, you know what? All bets off. You're on your own. I'm sorry, you're on your own. I mean, I'm running.
on the coast.
But we do have tornadoes, right? We got a tornado up in Divide not too long ago. That blew my mind. So I touched down on like one dude's property and was like, ah.
And the MAC.
In the MAC, yeah.
That was 20 years ago?
20 years ago. So the Manitou Arts Center, if anybody's familiar with it, it's a great place. The second floor 20 years ago was gone. Just took it off in Manitou.
I didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know it until we went there, got a tour. So yeah, just some of the some ideas of, and then all of these are kind of choose your own adventure. What else can you throw in here, right? I'm a contingency person. I like contingencies. Nothing's routine. So what else can I throw in? It's kind of like a game. Now, what else can I throw in here? And for you guys too, what can you throw in there for those of you online? What can I throw in here that might pertain to my particular scenario or my situation, my disposition of where I might live, where I might work? Some of you probably maybe work up in Denver. That's, very, very urban. What things could happen up there that might not happen down here? Just some things to think about. Right. So real quick, situational awareness. I like to do definitions so that way it's more for me, but we're on the same page. So situational awareness is the continuous process of perceiving your environment, understanding what it means in context, and projecting what is likely to happen next so you can make informed and safe decisions. Right? Just what is happening around me? And it's a continuous thing. It's always, hey, I'm going to step outside. What's in this room? Right? What could possibly happen? What am I going to use in this room, or how can I use this room as a safety lobby outside? What could happen outside? What's the next step? Now, can this be overwhelming? Absolutely, it can. There's so many what ifs, but that's why we take these courses. That's why Chris and I teach these courses, so we can help you mitigate those what ifs and give you plans of attack, plans of, hey, if this happens, I've got a plan in place, right? I've got a goal. What's my goal? My goal is I need to get home. I need to get to my family, or I need to leave the state. So that's my goal. What's my plan to get to that goal? What do I have in place? How I'm going to communicate with everybody and let them know what's going on. Where am I at? Where's that accountability? All right, next. All right, so I got golden rules. All right, rule number 1, keep your head on your shoulders. And rule number 2, buy yourself more time to apply rule number 1. So keep your head on your shoulders, right? Figuratively and literally. All right, if you're spazzing out and going crazy, how's that going to help anybody else? How's that going to help you if you're just losing your mind, right? And then literally, keep your head on your shoulders. Doesn't do you any good if you're visiting past family members. And then rule number 2, what am I doing to buy myself more time? We call it white space. What are my rings of security? How am I buying myself more time so I can apply rule number 1? So I can think, I can put my plan into effect. So these are my 2 golden rules that I teach all my students, which I learned from people way smarter than me. All right, next. All right, so baselines. What we like to do is create a baseline. What's normal for me? What's my normal everyday life look like in my house? My kids, my routine, my husband, wife, cats, dogs, goldfish, hamsters. What is my routine when I go to work? If I'm driving, do I take the same routes? What's that look like? Traffic. I get 25, 7 o'clock traffic every day. See what we're looking for, looking at people and what's the norm for my everyday life? And get used to that norm. Start making notes, mental notes. You can write down, like me, you got to make physical notes. And I'm looking for, people. Who do I see every day? What's their demeanor like? Because I know we have shootings are a thing now. There's someone that's a little bit off. Someone that's just not normal, or maybe someone that's giving personal stuff away might be indicators. So I'm looking for people that I know, people that I don't know, people acting erratic. What's that not normal baseline societal standards? Same thing, movement, traffic. What's traffic not, is it people driving crazy, or people in a rush to go someplace? And then sounds. We have a thing in the military, we love our acronyms, but I'll spell it out. We call it SEAL. Stop, look, listen, smell. I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to look around, see what I can see, anything giving me, the heebie-jeebies. I'm going to listen. I'm going to smell. Same thing. It kind of applies here. Smells and sights. Right? It's something not normal. Do I smell something that I shouldn't be smelling? That's normal. At my baseline, and when I'm at work or if I'm at home and I smell propane, probably something up. Might want to go smoke a cigarette, right? Turn off pilot lights. And that's everywhere. If I'm at work, do I smell chemicals I don't normally smell? Do I smell something really, really sweet in the air? Like peaches or almonds. Like I smell peaches. I don't know anything that isn't peaches that isn't good for you that's not peaches. That's going to be an indicator for me. I'm like, okay, it's probably not a good one. And then, like I said, behaviors. We all kind of have a normal baseline on societal standards and how we behave. Right? Now, someone that doesn't act that way, just might want to keep an eye out. Make a mental note. See something, say something. I know a lot of us, unfortunately today, society as individuals, we kind of just collapsed on ourselves, right? Not a lot of people talk. Not a lot of people communicate. Chris and I, we have a term, we call it tribing up. I like to tribe up. Who's in your tribe? You got, everybody's a rock until you're not. Right? Everybody can be a rock out in the ocean, but what good does that do you if you're just by yourself? Who's in your tribe? Who do I know that I can trust, that I can network with, gather information, skills, supplies? But if I see somebody, even if I'm in a work environment, coworkers, you're not doing yourself a justice or them a justice if you just keep that information yourself. So if you see something that's not in the norm, I might want to say something to somebody, be like, hey, am I crazy, or do you notice this too? They're like, yeah, okay, cool. So third party perspective makes reality. So, okay, cool. Let's go ahead and maybe tell somebody that might be able to do something about this, right? So I personally don't want to be the one that had withheld information when something went down. It could be anything, and I could have said something that helped a bunch of people out. I don't want to be that individual. Any questions? Anything so far, Chris?
I'll just give a couple of anecdotes on situational awareness.
Absolutely.
So I was on a United Airlines flight once. We were flying out of Newark, and I had a seat right behind the wing. I was in the window seat, and we're taxiing, and I see a little bit of residue coming, a little bit of liquid coming out of the end of the wing, right? Just thought it was a little bit of moisture. I'm like, okay, it's probably nothing. That's probably routine. Maybe it's just a bunch of moisture built up. And then, the plane hit its brakes, and then all this liquid started spilling out of the end of the wing. And nobody was doing anything about it. Nobody was saying a thing. And people saw it. All the fuel was leaking out of the airplane's wing, and we were about to take off. So I jump up, run to the back of the airplane. I tell the stewardess, I said, don't take off. Tell the pilot all the fuel is leaking out right now. And she's like, don't take off. So she calls the pilot. Stops the airplane. They pull over. They say, we're not taking off. And we taxied over, and we proceeded to watch all the fuel leak out onto the tarmac. All of it. And then we had to go in and transfer airplanes. But see something, say something is huge. A lot of people are afraid to be the one to maybe you're going to look dumb. Like, I'd rather look dumb, and maybe I'm wrong and look dumb, but maybe you're right. You know what I mean? So say something. When you see people in public and you're like, something's off, maybe I want to tell somebody about this, or maybe I want to call a friend, or maybe I just want to get out of the area. I just want to get off of that, get out of that situation. If you go in the supermarket, see some people acting squirrely, all right, maybe I'm just going to get out of here right now. You don't have to live in fear, but maybe just that little edge and that your ability and your willingness to say something and do something and react is going to keep you or your family safe.
That, or you could delay a flight and everybody behind it. Thanks, Chris. No.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, just take a moment. Like, so when you get home or whatever, take a moment and really sit down and think, okay, what's my baseline? What's my normal? Yeah. Next, Chris. Sure. Thank you. Here's one that I like to, risk versus reward. I like to play a game, especially with family members and kids. If you really got kids or grandkids, this is a great. Got to make it fun for everybody. Right? This could really, you can go into the weeds with a lot of this stuff, but if we make it fun, it is good to get them thinking early, especially today's. But a lot of decisions that we make or the potential we can make, I like to, what's risk versus reward? Is the squeeze worth the juice? So I know we've all watched some type of horror movie or some type of movie where you're like, don't do that. Right? Exactly. Is the risk of going down to that basement worth the reward of, when there's a dude down with an axe, worth the reward of getting that root beer, or that case of beer, right? That goes with everything, making those decisions. And I've seen, I don't know how many people, I sit back, I'm like, yo, dude, no, don't do that. All right, don't lick the socket. Come on, man. That's not smart, dude. So a lot of, when we make our plans and when we make our decisions going every day, driving and traffic gets crazy, do I want to get home? Yeah, do I got a place to be? Yes. Do I want to sit here and deal with everybody on I-25? Absolutely not. But at the same point, what's the risk versus reward if I drive crazy too? Right? Do I get an accident? I'm going to ding up the truck. Premiums go up. I get mad. Girlfriend gets mad. I get beat up. No, not worth it. So when we make our decision-making processes, we make our plans, try to implement the risk versus reward. everything we do. This is a huge one because I know we want to, some of the younger gentlemen that we get into class who are prior military or not prior military, they just want to gung ho it. Like, whoa, dude, pump the brakes a little bit, slow down. Let's think about what we're going to do. Think about, and we have a process, Chris, and I'll tell you about it later, and how we format our thought process. And then we add in, what's the risk versus reward on these decisions that we're going to make?
Sure. Downtown's been getting a little more violent. Downtown Tejon on Fridays and Saturday nights. What's the reward to go down there with your friends and go to a club where there's potentially been some shootings? There's some risk there. I at my point in life, I don't think I would want to do that. I don't want to put myself in that situation, right? So we're doing that risk analysis.
Chris is going to go over some more specific on like some water. So that's a huge thing. Water is huge. Anybody heard of the rule of threes? A couple guys have been in my classes before. So rule of threes for survival is 3 minutes without air, 3 days without shelter. 3 hours without shelter. So 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. So something simple to think about. So if you ever find yourself in an extreme situation, you're like, okay, what are my rule of threes? I've got air. We're winning. I'm conscious. Right? I need to make myself shelter because the environment it'll do you in fast. So I need to get shelter down. And then I'll work on water. Then for water, yeah, I'm really, really thirsty. I'm really, really thirsty. And I want to drink now. Now, do I take that drink from that stream? It looks clear. It's moving water. Now, do I want to take that drink? I'm so thirsty. I'm so parched. I want to drink it now. Or do I want to take that time and filter it out and boil it and make sure I got all the sediment and the bacteria out? So, risk versus reward on that. Okay, next. So, defensive planning. I like to start off with the individual first. So, with defensive planning, what do you guys think in your mind? I'd like to hear from different perspectives on what defensive planning is for you. Anybody? Feel free. Please.
Deciding to bug out or stay in.
Okay, great. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you repeat what she said?
Yeah, she said deciding to bug out or bug in. Absolutely.
I carry a spray that the mailman carried and a big horn.
Okay.
Very loud when I'm
So
hiking by myself.
a spray and a loud audible device,
Oh, I also carry a personal beacon.
like a
Okay.
GPS beacon.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent, excellent. That's actually pretty good. Anybody else?
I know it can mean a lot of things. Defensive planning for me is, I guess, a way of protecting what is important to me.
Okay.
Like my mom. So
Absolutely,
that would be my version of planning.
absolutely.
What do I need to do to protect her?
So defensive planning starts off in the mind first. It starts off how am I mentally and getting to know, this is where it comes down to getting to know who you really are. I gotta really take a hard look. Be like, am I the type of individual that is anxious? Do I have medical conditions? Am I one of the ones that fly out the handle, or am I one of the ones that sit back, looks in my area real quick, applies my rule 1, my rule 2? Who are you as an individual? That's the first thing when it comes to defensive planning. And then from there is what kind of skills do I have? Have I taken courses? Have I taken self-defense courses of some sort? For those of you who might carry firearms, which is, it's an American thing. Have I gotten training with that particular firearm? Do I know how to use that? Am I responsible with those firearms? Then from there, what kind of plan do I have for myself? What do I have? We'll get into everyday carry EDC. What do I have with me? What are my contingencies? What do I have with me to, rule number 2, buy myself more time to apply rule number 1, keep my head on my shoulders. And then from there, it'll go from myself to my vehicle. What is my vehicle? What do I have for everyday stuff when we live in a crazy place where there's snow, sand, brownouts, blackouts, fires. Oh, is my vehicle set up so I can get I can enact what we call the FERP, Family Emergency Readiness Plan. Can I get from A to B? How am I communicating? Do I have radios? So personal plans. Everybody carries something that's training in my vehicle loadout. How am I going to get myself? How am I going to enact my plan if something goes down? How am I going to communicate that? And how am I going to get myself from A to B? How am I going to do this? Am I buying a vehicle, whatever vehicle it is? Do I have spare tires? Do I have? Do I have the skills to change those tires? Do I have the skills to add the oils and the maintenance? And do I have? It gets cold here, right? I mean, remember what got negative 20 in the springs in 2011, 2010. Yeah, it got cold. I'm from the Midwest, from Chicagoland, and that was cold for me. And so am I prepared for the winter, prepared for the summer? If I'm up traveling up the hills and have a down tree, or do I have a way of getting myself out of that situation like Chris said? And then we go into the FERP, the Family Emergency Readiness Plan. What kind of plan do I have for my family? For some of you that have kids, young kids, older kids, what are they doing? I know we all concerned about our family. And I hear it all the time, like, especially from the younger cats. They're like, yeah, I'm going to grab all my guns and grab all my stuff and we're going to head to the mountains. I'm like, that's great. What about your family? What are they going to do? Yeah, well, you love to get to the fight, but, we've got responsibilities. How are we taking care of them? It's not only, am I building this plan, but do they know the plan? Do they know what the deal is? So if for whatever reason, I can't communicate, radio went down for some reason, cell service is out, do they know what to do? Have we walked through this? When you have kids, it's great to make a game out of it. Chris can definitely talk about that. He's got some young kids, a great grandkid even, and how we're going to communicate with each other. And when we do communication, we all think of cell phones and even maybe radios, but what are some technical and non-technical forms of communication? Right? If the whole grid goes down, maybe an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, and it doesn't have to be from a nuclear weapon. There's systems out there that can create these things from satellites. So everything goes down, even your vehicles. How am I going to enact that plan, that FERP with my family members? The audible horn is a great one. Whistles, flashlights with maybe colored coded are flashing. What kind of ways other than electronics can I communicate with my family or communicate with people nearby? That's a big one to think about. A lot of people, we're so dependent on electronics. And I try to teach the students, go back to analog. Some of us grew up with landlines. We didn't have cell phones, right? What do we do then? What do we do then? The one I love the best is the collect call trick, right? You got to collect call from, I'm at the park, I'm heading over to Billy's. That's a great one. I mean, if you find a payphone nowadays, but it can still, something like that. What are some other non-technical forms of communication? Bug in, bug outs. That is, you have to make a decision. Do I need to stay in my house? What kind of supplies? What kind of plan do I have? How much sustainability do I have in my house? Is it defendable? Do I need to defend it? What can I use to defend it with? How long can I stay here? So how much supplies do I have? When it comes down, when we teach the Family Readiness Plan in our course, our urban survival course, we give you, Chris and I put together a whole plan. It's all laminated for you. All you got to do is fill it in, but we teach you how to use that plan, how to fill it out. And then moreover, what to think about. Because a lot of people are like, okay, I want to bug in, but I've got water and food. That's great. Well, how much water do you have? How did you collect that water? There are some legal, in Colorado, there are some legal limits on how much water you collect and how you collect it. So there's things that people don't think about. Because it's 1 gallon per adult, half a gallon per person per day, per child per day. So I need to calculate that. We show you how to use food calculators. What kind of foods per person. There's definitely things to think about. What like, do I want to use dehydrated foods like MREs, or are they with a mountain house? That's it. Mountain house stuff. Yeah, it can get expensive. Do I want to dehydrate my own food, which is a process, but it can be really cold. because then you get crazy with it. I'm like, I want to dehydrate dog food. I want to dehydrate, you know. Do I live in a house, an apartment? What's my defensive plans and supplies for those? You know, where you live really makes a big difference as well. Do I live like in just the middle of everything? I live in an apartment in downtown Denver, 10 floors up. Well, if there's an emergency, how am I going to sustain living in an apartment 10 floors up if I have to bug out? What's my plan for that? And when we go into the plans, we really like to start from the beginning. There's something I want you guys to think about as well, especially for you guys online, is start, like, create your own horror movie in your head and it could be a lot of fun. Be like, all right, cool, zombies are attacking or something, you know, the Russians are invading. And start from, okay, if I'm standing here and it goes down, now, what am I going to do? What do I have around me that I can lock this place up? Do I want to just make it to where nobody knows I'm here and I got to live quietly? I can't use electricity, so how am I going to heat the place? Let alone the people, how to communicate with my friends and loved ones. Do I have someplace to go? Moreover, do I go to the mountains or do I head east to the Midwest? You know, do I have someplace nearby, someplace out of state? And then if you live up in the mountains, I just kind of started getting into homesteading, which is overwhelming in itself. Learning a lot about that, and that's some people's thing. It's a great thing. I mean, that's going back. If you can live like they did pre-refrigeration, I think you're already on the right track. And that's kind of what I want to get to myself. And then this one I think is probably the biggest one right there. What's your network? What's your tribe? What are your rings of security? So what is my in the operational, what we call it, white space? What's my white space? My 5-minute warning, my 15, my 30, my hour, my 2 hour. I want to know the threats as far out away as they're coming toward me. The more time I have, the more time, my rule number 2, I can apply my rule number 1, right? I want to buy myself more time so I'm not just rushing and making sure that my family emergency plan can go into effect and it's effective. So network. And it could be, and hey, you all are here today. You know, I don't know if everybody here knows everybody, but you all are here for a common denominator, right? Self-aware, self-preparedness, urban survival. Chris and I are meeting people all the time that come to our courses, and we get their names, we introduce them to other networks that are out there. You are not alone, believe me. There is a massive, massive community out there of people who think just like you, have the same concerns that you do. Absolutely. And all you got to do is just reach out. There's some of the greatest people on the planet, and they do what Chris and I do, and Jason. They want to help out. We want to build our community because we care. We care about our fellow man. Care about our fellow Americans. We want everybody to have the same opportunities, the same chances of survival. Seems kind of extreme than everybody else, if not more so. Yes.
Question for you.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a personal plan or family plan, are there any tips or tricks to avoid kind of the like frog in the water, boiling pot like concept for situational awareness? I mean, whether you're talking about early days of COVID in 2020, we don't really know what this is, tons of misinformation, or economic situations of what's really happening to our economy, different things like that, where you can just avoid waiting on authorities to basically say we have to leave our neighborhoods now when getting stuck in traffic on I-25 or something. Just pay attention more to what's happening around us.
Yeah, absolutely. This goes into like your rings of security, and it comes with your network as well. There are multiple websites that are vetted that you could use, and we give those out in class as well as alert systems. Some of the networks that we're involved with, all they love to do is do the geopolitical analysis stuff, and they jump in. They're like, hey, just want to let you guys know. They'll put up this like little intel alert. Hey, you got this going on here, and they'll push that out so that way you're informed. You can make the decision yourself. I'm not gonna make decisions for anybody. I can tell you what I would do as a professional, and you can base your decisions off of that. create a network, create a tribe like that, and then see something, say something, like, hey, what do you think? What do you think? And as someone who knows, because there are people out there that can analyze the heck out of stuff way better than I can, I just get frustrated. You know, I'm sure we all do. We're just watching the news and we're like, convict somebody already, right? We're just like, we get crazy. We get crazy. And I'm like, and you get burnt out, I got to shut it off, or I get really angry. So hey, I go to somebody who's better at than I am, smarter than I am, right? And then be like, hey, what do you think about this in your professional opinion and your experience? You know, I swallow that pill and be like, hey, what do you think? What do you know? All right, cool. And then I do another source and another source. I just don't take one source. And then from there, because of my experience, I can determine if I want to stay or go. But that's where for individuals that don't have experience, network with dudes that or people that have experience and be like, hey, I'm curious, but all right, cool. Just let's take a tactical pause. Be patience for a second. Let's just see how this plays out, and then we'll go from there. I'm not going to leave you behind. I'll let you know what I'm going to do. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So the network is a huge thing, right? We have a saying where we can't stand on that wall. We can't stay on the wall all night, 24 hours. Right? I can't stay on watch 24/7. It is impossible. I need help. I need people in my network who are like-minded, who have the same concerns, who want to build that old world community, right? It takes a community. I want to build that community up and be like, okay, of skills and eyes, and be like, okay, I need help. Can you do this for me? Or hey, you know, they're looking at it from a different perspective. I know how I see things. How do you see things? Somebody sees something different, and I love that. I love looking at people's perspective, and I find myself all the time like, I did not think of that. Kudos, that's awesome. We're doing that. Excellent. Any other questions? So yeah, network. So one last thing on network. If you guys have any questions on how to network, where to network, who to network, let us know. We can definitely point you in the right direction. Absolutely. All right, EDC. EDC, everyday carry refers to the collection of useful items and personal carries consistently to help them navigate daily life and prepare for various situations from mundane tasks to potential emergencies. A common thing when, especially in this realm, when you say EDC, almost everybody goes to, what kind of gun am I carrying? Right? Yeah. And it's not about the gun, it's everyday carry for items. Some people just don't want to carry a firearm, which is fine. That's great. If you do decide to carry a firearm, which is your American God-given right, we are not lawyers at all. I can give you bad legal advice, but if you do decide to carry a firearm, one, go get training with that firearm. Two, put a firearms lawyer on retainer, just to cover yourself. That's my advice for that. Yes, sir.
And also get insurance.
And insurance, absolutely. And get the insurance because it will get pricey. Absolutely. So yeah, so it's not just about the firearms, about what else do you carry? How are you setting yourself up? Rule number one, rule number two. Next, Chris. So here's just a quick little picture of maybe some everyday carry items. So you got a little pocket knife there, a timepiece. I know we all have our phones. Phone is a great modern supercomputer that we carry, but how many of us have dropped our phone in something, broke our phone, shut down, ran out of battery? You know, it's a piece of electronic. It's a point of failure, right? I tried to teach go back to analog. Those of us that grew up with the landlines, right? Go back to analog. You can't go wrong. They've been doing it for eons, hundreds of thousands of years, living off of not technology. So try and get back into that. Firearm, so we went over that real quick. Looks like a little tactical pin right here. A tactical pin is a pin that can write, but it's a really, really sturdy piece of metal. You can use it for a self-defense weapon. You can use it to break windows. Little medical, we call it a little boo-boo kit. You hurt yourself. You know, it depends if you want to carry that. Keys. With the keys, I have my EDC. Well, it's not much, but on this little key ring, I've got a flashlight. I've got a key that can pretty much open up everything. I've got an elevator key. Some of them that live in some apartments or high rises. Something happens, electricity goes out, elevator's not running. How are you gonna walk down a bunch of stairs? But I got a key where I can control that elevator.
Have
And
you had
open
to
it up.
use it?
It's just a little kind of no 5, 10 pin key. And I got there's keys. There's all sorts of keys that you can get online. Crazy enough, Amazon. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why. But Amazon's amazing when it comes to cheap EDC stuff. But there's keys there to open up vehicles. They're master keys to open up vehicles, toolboxes, supply cabinets. You can go online, like every piece of heavy machinery on the planet you can get for $50. Yeah, it's nuts. We go in our course, our urban course, we go over all of that stuff. But it's something to help me out. But like I said, a flashlight. It can go dark on you real fast, and I don't want to be feeling around my way out of someplace if I can just carry just a tiny little flashlight that takes a little watch battery, some type of light source, right? No, I'm not going to rely on my phone. With this, you see right that little square piece. They're an extra battery for my phone. They have little magnetic squares that are like $80 that you can just put around the back of your phone because the phone's chargeable now, which is phenomenal to have. So my phone and my phone case, well, my phone case itself is a battery. My phone has a battery, and I carry an extra chargeable battery. So I basically have 3 batteries. I can fly from the Middle East over here, so 3 days of travel, using not streaming movies, but I can fly from the Middle East to America, so 3 days of travel and not plug my phone in once. That's 3 days of electricity on my phone, which is phenomenal. Cash and credit cards. It's always probably good to have a little bit of analog cash. Credit cards aren't bad. These right here, it's kind of hard to look, but these are little fire starters, something to create a little bit of spark. So if I need to, I can create some type of fire, go back old school, right? Caveman days. Yeah, and that's kind of it. It's not a whole lot. Women have been EDCing since the dawn of time. By necessity. They carry around a purse. Chris brought this up to me the other day. I'm like, you know what, you're right.
Right. Now we call it's got a new term, but
Yeah.
we've been doing it
They've
forever.
been doing it forever. You got all sorts of it. Before we dumping out, they're like, honey, can you get this in my purse? No, kids, I'll get lost. You get it. You're just going to be yelling. But yeah. So you guys have been doing it forever. It's been crazy. And then now people are carrying around fanny packs. You see dudes with fanny packs.
Tactical waste belts.
It's a satchel stone.
It's a fanny pack. Let's not disillusion ourselves. It's all good. It's all good. I just don't like keeping all my resources in one area. If I lose it, over in Europe, kids snatch those things up real fast. Now I lost everything, so I kind of move everything around. I'm not too cool for one. I'm just saying I don't carry it. Chris.
I got a lot of stuff on my keys. I like a big carabiner for obvious reasons, but I really like it because I can get it on an airplane, and I can use it as maybe a self-defense weapon if I need to, and I can get it through TSA security. I've also got that little fire starter. You get these on Amazon. You get like a pack of 10 of them for like.
What kind of fire starter is that?
A ferrocerium rod. And with the back of my knife here, I can get a spark. So I practice this. When I start a fire with my kids or anything, like this is what we use. So we know how to do it. A couple of things, I got the keys that he was talking about, but I've got a little Phillips head, a little flathead there. That's coming in handy. I've got a little P38 can opener. I've actually used this quite a bit. Been like, hey, anybody got a can opener? Oh, I do. Cool. Handcuff key. Not for getting locked up by the cops. Don't use this if the police put handcuffs on you. Just comply. But if you're in a bad situation and God forbid somebody's handcuffed to you, and they're doing nefarious things, you got one, right? Yeah, just a couple things. I keep a bobby pin here in my shoe.
Yeah.
for picking locks and picking handcuffs. And we teach that. We go over that in our urban class. It's a lot of fun. So,
Absolutely. I carry a couple bobby pins on me and my, I'm not gonna tell you where. It's for those of you online. Yeah, there's some things that I carry because I set myself up for success. Not to say that that'll ever happen. I might find myself in non-law enforcement detainment. Please comply. But non-law enforcement detainment, first and foremost, I'm going to use my baseline, right? And my situational awareness, and I'm not going to put myself in that situation. But in the happenstance that we do find ourselves there, I'm giving myself the ability to get out. One of the huge things that I try to impart with my students is the more skills you have, the less equipment you need. It is so easy to just go online and they're like, you need this, they just want to hawk their wares on you, right? You need this equipment, you need this for this and this and this. And next thing you know, you're 10 grand in the hole on stuff you probably never will ever use, but it looks good, right? You can say you got it, you got bragging rights. But the more skills that you have, the less equipment you need. Because, and I hate using zombies, but everybody loves zombies, and everybody wants to go through that zombie apocalypse, right? And when's it gonna? Yeah, no, right? I mean, if you really look at it, no, not really. But it's a fun thing to fantasize about. It's a great training tool as well. But everybody's like, when it happens, I'm gonna get in my zombie truck with my zombie guns and my zombie girl, and we're gonna go. No, you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna be at Walmart or Costco with your kids, and it's all gonna go south. Anything that will go south will happen in the worst, most inconvenient time possible. You're gonna have your kids at school. Your significant other is going to be at work. You're going to be doing like buying dog food at the store, and that's when it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen in the worst time possible. So, what am I? Yeah, 5 minutes. What am I doing? Okay, next. What am I doing to set myself up?
What's that bottom? I'm sorry. The bottom right.
Bottom right. Bandage.
What is?
a tampon?
Like under the keys is on the
That's what it looks
right
like.
side.
There is a tampon on there. That's for a gunshot wound.
This guy right here.
No.
Nope. Nope.
Too far right.
That yeah.
That right there.
Is it a whistle?
Yeah. So, I'm
That
sorry,
could be a
I
whistle.
meant-
Or these are whistles. That's going to be like a little where you hold matches.
Oh, yeah, it might be a little flashlight too.
Yes, ma'am.
What's on the top left?
This?
Yeah.
That is a phone.
Okay, that's
What it appears to be a phone.
A large phone.
Not mine.
Wait, so tampon for gunshot wounds?
You can. You can.
Bloody noses, I guess, too.
Or this is a female.
Yeah.
I would discourage using
Yeah.
tampons for a gunshot wound. They're not sanitary.
Yeah, so that whole myth started, or that thing started during the initial invasion of Iraq. We had a lack of medical supplies, but we had a bunch of tampons, so dudes were just, because it absorbs, and they're just shoving tampons there because we didn't have what we have today. The medical advances, because of what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan, unfortunately, have exploded. I am a registered EMT, and through our course, I teach you some basic medical stuff, our SMART program, some improvised things to do while something happens, and then basically give you a better understanding of and confidence in the abilities, skills, and stuff to carry with you. So part of the course is what I teach when you go if you decide to take the course. Next. All right, cool. Do I have any questions on anything? I know we kind of just went over a bunch. Trust me, we can go in the weeds in this. I just want you all to really start thinking about what it really means for urban preparedness. Any questions? Anybody? Chris, Jason?
Nothing on here.
Excellent, excellent. Those of you online, thank you for joining us again.
Yeah, take about 5 minutes, then we'll get back at it.
Absolutely. And then we'll go over, after Chris, we'll go over some of the stuff.
Tactical waste though.
Did you say his?
Surprisingly, they're extremely cheap online. And you can usually write, they come with refills. We actually give you, when you come to class, we give you a bunch of stuff to go home with.
Do you have a
But you can do all sorts of stuff, and then they're extremely strong. You might have an issue getting them on planes, but there are other things that I provide. Some of that's called pencils, and it's, you can work with it, but it's extremely strong. You can get your it's a pencil. Yeah, it's oh, excellent. Is that from the course?
That one's a regular. It's
Okay.
a glass breaker self-defense tool and a little heavy.
Yeah, we try to impart with stuff that you can take everywhere. You can take it on the TSA. It doesn't do you any good if you have to leave it at home.
So the is actually specifically
I carry everything
great glass. It's have a focal point on the glass. So that it's actually pretty sharp. That's right.
So I work with DHS.
Yep.
By 2002, from its inception, and we've had so many changes since
I
then.
can change that now.
What you're allowed
We
to
could.
do?
I don't have to go back to the research, but he said,
Yeah.
this conversation,
Yeah.
I guarantee you, it's something. Yeah, that's something we can just create. Yeah, no, we can absolutely do that.
Well, because the idea of you, the idea of you having to carry a lot of things doesn't sound appealing to me. Because if you did have to bug out and go, you don't have a ton of things. Yeah, but the more skills I know on my own, that's one less thing I have to really try to do. I mean, carry with me for.
Well, we have, yes, so you apply it. You know, really like everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not gonna be some Tom Cruise 007. I can do Mission Impossible or anything. I mean, even just basic things.
Yeah.
I have a shovel.
Yeah.
I don't know water in there.
Learning what you can do for that. Like, let us
It's
use
broken.
tablets all the time. Things like that.
No answer.
There's natural ways that you can clean the water. Found that. Showing the skills that I'm able to utilize the resources.
Yeah, I have a
Because that
bottle.
would be the easiest thing. It's your time.
Take it. I'm done. I don't have to deal with it.
Those are the kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I think.
Like, yeah, there's some stuff where it's inevitable. Like, if you know something that you can create a file that's file for.
Well, yeah.
Big or anything. I mean, as a whole, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, that. I mean, people.
Right now,
Wow, I would never even think of going to.
Really beneficial if we stay home though, because that's all. Then there's weapons. How strong are we have the ability to grow our own food. We have another way of outside of what they turn their water on. We have enough candles, flashlights. We're not sustainable without heat, all those things. But I just mean like stations, like plug in, prepared, bug out, and there you go, depending on what happens.
Well, my son, I don't, going up and down the steps.
Because
I'm on a forest. There's 60 steps.
small protection, I'm not anything of losers. What do you call it? People that want to break into your home, there's that too. We don't really have the means to protect our
Fence got pushed. I fell.
I don't.
Like if I felt it was
So towards the end,
and we
yeah, toward the end, I want to go over all this stuff. This is just the basics of that. So
that makes more sense to
slow
me.
things like
So
that, so I take out. But I've designed that bag for everything that possibly
building things.
in a way maybe to.
I personally
Well, so
consider
Chris and I actually sat down. Okay, and you're
things like that. Get some
experience in this situation, this happened. What you guys have? What could we use if you can find out?
slowly start doing
there, but for the most part, it do
just things where
the entire
we
program.
have a way to be protected in our own.
I'm really concerned about this.
And then we didn't have to
Spend
do
money, spend money on
sure we could have
yeah.
especially if something
On the
kind of catastrophe was happening.
We try to go and not restrict things. So if you're carrying a bag that's green, camouflage, and you got all sorts of cool stuff on, people they draw it. If I carry a regular backpack, you know, that everybody else has. Chris actually carries the same thing in a laptop bag. Yeah, you just hold it over your shoulder and you just hold it on. Bags that you can't tell. And then we teach on our sort of developing advanced urban survival preparedness class. And then we'll go over some more stuff in depth, teach you how to actually create your plans themselves, write them out, and work with you on that. But we take you out, be hands-on, and show you how to do water filtration, how to find the water, how to filter it, build basic shelters out of ponchos and tarps, fire starting, how to make little stoves out of cans, just regular soup cans, how to make stoves. And, we do a good afternoon of that, and then our advance is going to be in about 5 days, where we go into more depth and we do some overlaps. And then we go out and we'll go forward, we'll go into the springs. Every forward is what you need. It's incentive-based training, so you're not going to fail, but the better you do the day prior will set you up for success the next day. If you fail to do that on the day prior, the next day's going to suck. But it's an incentive to be like, hey, I need to actually, if I fail to accomplish these things and get these items, tomorrow's going to be worse. So, and then calorie counts, water counts, a lot of basic medical stuff. Because people are going to get, you're out to get injuries on action form. That's how much something is.
Instead
Okay. Ready, everybody? Ready, go. One thing I thought about, we was talking about everyday carry. What I put in my truck, right in my truck door, is I call it a bleeder kit. And this really pertains in traffic, right? We just had that huge pile up on I-25, right? I have this stuff right here. So it's a tourniquet, right? So I can stop arterial bleeding on any limb. I've got some combat gauze. It's called Quick Clot. It's an agent that causes your blood to clot real quick, and it's in bandage form. And then I have another wrap in there, right? So I can fix myself real quick if I need to. It's right there, or my passenger if I need to. And then I also have a more beefy first aid kit in the back, right? Think about that.
On the medical thing real quick, Chris, I do have to touch on this. Do I have any medical professionals here? Cool, excellent. Medical stuff is overwhelming, especially in an emergency. There's a lot that can go wrong, and it can, and it has, and it will. My recommendation is please go seek out some type of training. How many people know how to add the quick clot into like a gunshot wound or a deep puncture? Because there's a way to do it. Same thing with tourniquets. You know, ask yourself, do I know how to properly apply a tourniquet? Do I know where to? Do I know the process of it? You know, the last place you want to be is when you have a loved one that's bleeding out for whatever reason, a car crash or hopefully not a stab or gunshot wound. The last place you want to be is, I should have took the class because I don't know what I'm doing, especially when someone's life on the line. So I cannot reiterate, thank you, Chris, for please go get some type of training on how to apply some of the medical stuff. So thank you.
All right, I'm going to talk about radios. So I was a Special Forces communication sergeant. before I was a warrant officer, so that's how I got into radios, and I'm just kind of a techie guy. And then when I got out, I didn't have access to military radios anymore. I was like, I better learn this stuff. Like, I better know this stuff inside out. So I've just been going down the rabbit hole. I've got a pile of radios here, and I teach a course called Off-Grid Communications. There's one this Saturday, and there's still a few seats available if anybody would like to come. So let's start with CB, Citizens Band. So sometimes people will just group all of radios into CB. They'll see like, what kind of radio are we using? Well, we're using CBs. They think it's this, or they think it's this, or they think it's that. CB is a specific thing. It's Citizens Band radio, often used in the trucker community, right? This is a Cobra. Cobra 20. This is on Amazon. You can buy it. It's like $130. You can put it in your car. You don't need a license, and now you have access to all the Citizens Band CB radio frequencies, right? So you can use it on the road. There's a couple of channels on there that are pre-formatted for emergencies that the truckers use. It's dedicated to a certain amount of channels. So the FCC has said, we're going to give you X amount of channels for CB. I think it's 42 channels for CB radio. It's down lower in the HF spectrum. So it's kind of a unique band that it utilizes. But that's what CB radio is. If you want to get into radio quick without having to worry about a license or anything like that, you can just go online, get a CB radio, have someone help install it in your car, and now you've got a secondary form of communication, right? Doesn't require any external support, right? There's no infrastructure that's going to help this work. This is going to work just by itself. You can talk to other CB radios. Yes.
What was it called again, the brand?
This is Cobra.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go on Amazon, type Cobra CB, and that'll pop right up. It's about $130. Yep.
Are they basically the same as back in the day when everybody had them?
Pretty much. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I don't think they're being used as much as they were a while ago. You know, because we have everybody's got phones now, and there's multiple applications with phones.
You can go on like eBay. You can start getting those older ones for cheap. The dual bands. Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So as you climb up the radio ladder, so to speak, the next logical step is FRS, Family Radio Service. So these, they call them bubble pack radios because usually you buy them in twos. Here's an example right here. These are FRS radios by Motorola. This is the T801. This is the one I give away in the class, the comms class. It's part of your tuition. But what's nice about FRS, you don't need a license, but there's some restrictions, right? The FCC says, all right, we're going to let people use these radios in public and little kids can yell and talk on them, but we're going to restrict it a little bit. So what do? They make it so you cannot remove the antenna, right? So you can't change out the antenna. I mean, maybe you could, but they make it so it's hard on it. And there's a set amount of power you can use. You can't use more than 2 watts. So these radios don't go any higher than that, right? And they give you a set amount of channels. So any FRS radio is going to talk to another FRS radio because there's 22 channels. They just say, here's your 22 channels. So channel 1 on this is going to talk to channel 1 on this red of this. What's neat about these radios, and when you start building your family emergency plans, you can buy a pack of these Retevis radios, these RT, I think it's RT20, for like $40. You can get like 6 of them, right? And now you have ways you can put one in your glove box. You can give them out to your other family members, and you can build that little plan, and it's license free. You don't have to pay the FCC for it. So these are your 2 free ones. So this is Band and FRS, right? So now, when we get more into, you want to pass that around?
Ask what the range is.
Yeah, good question. Okay, so 2 watts, it's a line of sight radio. So it has to see the other radio's antenna, right? What is going to interfere with that? Buildings, terrain, trees, anything that's going to get in the way. So let's say if we had complete line of sight with 2 watts on an FRS radio, you could probably get, I would say 10 miles, but that's mountaintop to mountaintop, nothing in the way, right? Out in town, it's good to experiment with these, buy some of these, get with your friends, walk around and test it. Be like, I'm gonna go up to the 5th floor, and you should go down to the parking garage. Let's see if we can penetrate through these walls, right? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. A good advice with radio is when it's not working, just move a little bit. Just move 10 feet and try it again. And then sometimes it'll completely change your radio wave propagation. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Chris?
One more question on
Yeah.
that. Mine may not be family radio. I had for my surgical company something similar to that, but larger Motorola, where it's on our own private frequency
Yep.
for the company.
Right.
Would that still work during an
Emergency?
emergency?
Maybe for a while, but it depends on it. That radio system, that's called a trunked radio system.
Yeah.
So the police and fire and emergency services use oftentimes with Motorola's, the big black Motorola's. It's called a trunked radio service. It uses encryption, but it also relies on a lot of infrastructure. So if we had a complete power outage for a long time, eventually those systems, if they don't have backup power for those trunked radios, eventually they could die.
Okay.
These are all working radio to radio. They don't require anything. There's no infrastructure. So yes, they could go down if they don't have redundant
that was my
power.
worry. I mean, you've got long range, but you don't have, if there's an EMP, there's going to be no power.
Exactly. That's why you start looking at these smaller
Okay.
Baofeng, Quansheng. I'll pass some more of these around. So our next step up is general mobile radio service. It shares a lot of the same frequencies that FRS shares. But the FCC says we need you to buy a license in order to use GMRS legally. For whatever reason, I think it's just a way for them to get some money. But what's cool, the general mobile radio service license is only $35. It's good for 10 years, and it applies to your entire family. So I bought my license. My daughter can use it. There's no age restriction. My daughter can use it. My wife can use it. I think it extends to it goes to your extended family as well, so your parents can use it, or they're pretty loose on it, right? They just want you to pay that $35 and do it correctly. So GMRS, this is a Baofeng UV5G GMRS radio. It can look a little overwhelming at first, but with a little bit of training, it's not very hard to use.
Where can you get those, Chris?
So you can get these on Amazon. Just type in Baofeng.
How much?
They're like $32. They're like $30.
What's
Yeah,
the
whole
range?
shopping list right
I
now.
bought a bank of 6, 7 for like $150 with
Yeah.
extended batteries.
So when you start to get into GMRS, we get some advantages now that we paid for that license. I can change out my antenna. I can buy a better antenna, or I can field craft antennas. There's ways to make antennas with RG58 cable with wire. So I can make a better antenna, throw it up in a tree, and get way better range. And what they also give you with GMRS is better power. They say you can go up to, I think it's 200 watts. So you can put a base station in your house or in your car and push way out with GMRS. So down there in that picture, I put a picture of a mobile unit and a handheld. So you can put a GMRS radio in your car, run it off your car battery, $100, $150, something like that. Pay for that license, and now you've got GMRS capability. It's neat because now you're starting to get into the radio world and radio folks. You'll start to hear a lot more chatter on the GMRS channels around town, and you also now you have access to repeaters with GMRS. So there is some infrastructure required for a GMRS repeater, right? Because you don't need power. But people are building these things though to have redundant power and have solar panels in a grid down electrical situation. They want these repeaters to be able to stay up. So what's neat, you can program your GMRS radio to hit a repeater, and now that repeater pushes your signal out all the way across. So there's a GMRS club in town that I joined, and they give you the codes on how to program it. And now I have access to that repeater. I also programmed it in my truck, which is pretty cool. So that's like your next step. So everybody's probably heard of ham radio, right? That's prior to working up to ham radio is GMRS. It's a pretty easy step up from FRS, and it's pretty powerful. So if you don't want to get overwhelmed by ham radio, just get into GMRS. Okay, so the next step is amateur radio. So ham radio is amateur radio. When you hear people say amateur radio, they're talking about ham operators. There's 3 different licenses, so you have to have a license to transmit. The beginning license is called your technician license. Then you have your general license, and then you have your amateur extra license. And they just get progressively a little tougher. But when you gain that license, it gives you access to way more frequencies. So you can buy one of these big HF radios, build long antennas at your house, and talk to Norway. That's what ham operators do. Is they use ham radios and bounce signals off the ionosphere with their hand-built antennas, and they talk all the way across the world. So this is the true best option for off-grid communications. Is ham radio. There's some tricks going around on the internet right now that kind of frustrate me. There's these little, they call them POC link radios. Everybody see the commercials for those? POC link radios, and they say you can push the talk and it'll talk anywhere in the world, and it'll talk off grid. But what they're doing is they're confusing 2 terms to try to sell you that radio. POC means push to talk over cellular. So if you see those POC link radios, it's using cellular towers to make that connection. And then if the cell towers go down, yes, it still does have the ability, but now it's just working like our little handhelds. It has to be line of sight. So don't get confused like that, because those POC link radios, if the cell towers go down, they're not going to work. So let's talk a little bit more about amateur radio.
Would you say the licensing is pricey?
No, I think it's $70 to get your technician license for ham.
Okay.
It's not too hard, and they've made it easy now, because it used to be books. You had to dig through books. Now they have apps. They're hamstudy.org. You can go on. You can take pre-tests. You can see all the questions.
Okay.
When you go in and test, though, they have it proctored, so they have other ham radio guys watching, so you can't reach your phone and get the answers. But
It's probably best.
Not that you would. Not that you would.
it was not a hard test. I'm training my daughter. She's 12 to get her technician license, because I want to be able to talk to her in Denver legally, right? I can talk to her right now. She has a radio and hits repeaters, but it's not legal for her. So I'm training her to do that. She's a little reluctant. She's not too into it.
You have to know Morse code.
No, you do not have to know Morse. So you can use Morse code in ham. It's still popular. People still do it, but you don't have to know it to get licensed. I think the test is about 35 questions, but it's from a bank of about 200 questions, and then they randomly select. But the questions never change, so you can study for it. It's pretty easy to pass.
Do all these go down with an EMP? Does anything work?
I don't know. I've never been EMP'd.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There are ways to mitigate. There are things out there called Faraday bags or Faraday cages. It's a black magic piece of technology. You put electronics in there, you seal it up, and it protects from microwave and some other stuff. You can get them relatively cheap online. It's always good to have redundancy, right? And to take some of your radios or some of your electronics and stick it in some of those protective cases or some of those cages, and then you have ones that you work. So in the event that something does happen like that, you can at least, and if it does blank out, zero out all of your radios, electronics, I can open up that bag and still have working radios again. So yes, there are ways to mitigate
You
it.
can probably get those on Amazon now too, huh?
You get everything on there. Come on now. Yeah, you
Is
definitely
it just directed to kind of how to use all of them in the moment, or
Yeah.
any specific?
In the class I teach, I go through each one more in depth, and we get more hands-on. I'm giving you kind of wave top right now, but we get tell you more about the power, the licensing. We talk about antennas. Jerry?
Gotcha.
Not to get too into the weeds. All these radios, are they compatible with each other? Saying you're on the same frequency as a family radio service, could you communicate, if you have a GMRS radio, could you communicate with somebody with an FRS radio?
Yes, FRS and GMRS are allowed to talk to each other legally. However, the FCC has some specific rules about GMRS talking to ham. You're not supposed to do it. So they've got some rules in place. I'll just say that.
Technicality. They
Right. So this radio right here, I forgot to get it. I'll go get it. But this is the Quenchang UV-K6. I love this radio. It's $30. I've got like 8 of them. Each of my family members got one in their glove box. It will talk to GMRS. It will talk to FRS.
Does GMRS work internationally?
I don't know.
Definite maybe. Okay.
It's a definite maybe. I don't know. Sorry.
Well, the right amount of power, the right amount of juice, the right antenna, you can pretty much bounce these signals anywhere.
So what ham allows you to do is it gives you access to entire bands. They give you chunks of bandwidth that the FCC has said, okay, here's the UHF band, here's the VHF band. And now you have the freedom within that band to use all the different frequencies, right? There's nothing locked in. It's like, I think the VHF is don't quote me on this, I might be wrong, but 420 to 440. But you have access to all that, and you can change your steps, and you can have, hundreds of different frequencies to talk. So this is another Bofang. This is actually a little. It looks just like this one. So this one is a GMRS only, UV5G, and this is the infamous UV5R. This is a huge radio in the prepper community, in the survival community. They're about $30. So this is a ham radio, and real popular. So ham repeaters are much more prevalent than GMRS repeaters. There's a lot of ham repeaters. There's a whole bunch of them in Colorado called the Colorado Connection, and they're all linked. So it's really neat. That's how I can talk to my daughter all the way in Denver. So repeater access is huge. It's a little techie. Learning how to program your radio to talk to the repeaters. There's certain things you need to know about your radios because it uses 2 different frequencies. It's called using duplex because I have a transmit frequency and I have a receive frequency. So these radios will do it. It's a little techie, but not too hard. So that's UV5R. Pass that one around. Here's another Bofang. It's got this really short antenna on it. I really don't like it. It's got more wattage. It's a little more robust. This is the UV26. You can go flip it on. It's got a really nice screen. This is like $38 on Amazon. That's the UV26. So it talks about antennas a little bit. You can craft your own antennas. This is called ladder line. It's just 2 pieces of wire inside here, and it's just got these little gaps, but all of this is 2 pieces of wire, and you can cut it to frequency using some equations, some math equations to figure out the length that you need. A little bit of heat shrink there, and it's connected to RG58 cable. And I've got.
They hook up to like a Yogi antenna or anything like that.
Yes. So then you got to make sure you got the right connector on here. But this will connect to my. This is cut for GMRS. So I'm plugging into a GMRS radio and do the right thing. And I can throw this antenna up in a tree. I made a shot the other day on one of these radios. I threw it up in my yard and I hit a guy out in Falcon with no repeaters.
From where though?
From Manitou.
From Manitou to Falcon. With a handheld.
5 watts, pushing 5 watts. So imagine putting an amplifier there, having a 25-watt radio with a big antenna. You're gonna be able to reach all the way across town. Clear comms. So in my truck, I've got a Redivis radio with an RT95. I got great comms with it. And I'm able to program all sorts of ham frequencies. I program all sorts of repeater frequencies. When you start deep diving and seeing what people start talking on, you'll just learn a lot. Like, oh wow, this is what people are talking on in the community. It's really neat. So here's like a whip antenna. You can buy this. I bought this for like $15 on Amazon, but got a little better antenna there. You can put that on my ham radio or my GMRS radio. Put that on your back.
Is it laser pointer?
Yeah.
So we,
It looks like a laser pointer.
just
I
a
should have
little-
been using this for pointing.
The boy.
Chris, just a little, I have one of those on some of the radios that we use for advanced classes out at camp.
Yeah.
And the reach on that one was about 2 miles with a ridge, a big ridge line between us. So we were able to go up over the ridge, 2
Mhm.
miles to the other radio.
Hmm.
So they've got a pretty fair distance with those long, with it, whatever they're called.
Whip.
Chris,
They're not-
Yes.
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
This all sounds like the contingency of grid and electricity.
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct.
in the event of the, without getting too far in the weeds, in the event of the zombie apocalypse, is there
Total societal collapse.
anything outside of any of this for communication? Even
Satellite?
close range?
So satellite is still going to exist, but the thing about satellite is it still requires support from the ground.
Infrastructure.
There's going to be infrastructure from the ground to run satellites. So for me, that's an unknown. I don't know how those satellites are going to be up working. You know, you got the Garmin network, you got Starlink. I don't know. I don't know how long that stuff is going to be working.
That's a great question. With the advent of modern technology, we've got solar panels. So I can, and they're starting to go, these are really expensive, right? Now they're starting to get some really good wattage for cheap. I know some of the operational units when we're out deep in the woods, I don't have, we have no running water, we've got nothing. And there's all sorts of cool stuff you can roll out. I might be able to charge one radio at a time, but that's one radio at a time that I didn't have as well. But there's also, there, solar panels. And you can go on Amazon. You can go on Amazon and do your research. Please do your research. But yeah, you can get them really cheap. You can put them, they're lightweight now, you can pack them out. But this also falls into our contingency. What are our non-technical forms of communication, to answer that question? Yes, I have my technical, I've got my phone, I've got my radios, but what do I have? How can I communicate when the grid goes down?
So all these Baofangs, they've got USB charging ports. This is a USB solar panel, so I could indefinitely probably charge this as long as this battery stays good, right? Yeah. So solar panels are becoming more and more available. Battery banks are becoming more and more affordable. There's a little battery bank. Love this guy. It's got a solar panel on top. It's very slow, but I could get some. I can charge this. I can direct some. I can get some more progress. What's neat about this is it's also hand crank.
Oh.
Right. So I can slowly charge this thing up in an emergency and get that radio working again. Or
Talk about analog.
right, it's got a light on it.
Once again,
You crank it.
Amazon.
There we go.
I'm gonna get paid by Amazon.
You guys a sponsor?
I think it's awesome.
But this thing is great. It's got all these different USB ports on it. They put a compass on. They ran out of space. So it's like,
And they're not that expensive anymore either. Really not.
yeah.
I want to take a real quick moment and why having these radios and having the ability to communicate like this, why would this be very important and why we're here?
To coordinate.
To coordinate. And absolutely, to answer your question, create that white space. Right? Somebody in Denver, maybe, hey, you got riots, and which is an actual event that happened to us in Woodland, is our network in Denver is like, you've got rioters heading your way, Amigo, prepare. And they went down to Springs, they went up to us. Our sheriff was like, nope, kicked them out. They went down to Pueblo, they got in a bunch of trouble down in Pueblo. But yeah, your network, it's the same thing. Or I've got a sick child. I'm gonna call my medical person, be like on the radio because I don't want to use the phone. Be like, I've got my kid has got these symptoms. What do I do? Radio's a great way to do it. So the cell service is probably going to be tied up. 911 services are going to be completely a wreck, or if not, down in the event of sabotage or cell towers burn up in a forest fire or something like that. So yeah, so it's great for your networking. Absolutely. Building up your tribe, you can communicate, and trust me, there are a bunch of techies and radio nerds out there. I love them to death because they are so brilliant. If you have a question on a radio, someone will help you out. Like this stuff is woo for me. You know, I'm starting to get into it, but there's so many people out there that will help you out because they love this stuff. It is overwhelming, but this stuff's amazing. Like I'm getting into it myself now, and it's so important having those lines of communication, the different types. And I hand them out to my family, and then my plans to go on with that. But yeah, absolutely. Like, so to answer your question, these radios are going to help with your network.
None of these are private though, where you could just speak with your family.
No,
Yeah.
Okay.
no.
You
Yeah.
can, but now you're starting to get into some really technical and expensive equipment.
With digital mobile radio, you can have encryption. It's a little difficult, but you can use encryption. There's privacy codes, but these GMRS radios and AM use privacy codes, but they don't encrypt. They just block out what everyone else is saying.
Okay.
So that's
I can still hear you.
they can still hear you. You just can't hear them.
That was the advantage of the big Motorola's.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's why the police are on the strong systems, because they don't want everybody to listen to what they're talking about. Another emergency radio that I love. This thing's about $32 or something on Amazon. It's the Solar Crank CR's 1009. I love this thing. I try to give it away to everybody. Just no antenna. We're inside. It just works really well. It's also got the weather band on there, the NOAA weather band.
Northwest winds around 10 miles an hour.
So I can. That's my ultimate emergency right there. Is being able to listen to them with the. What's the acronym? NOAA. Somebody know it?
Oceanic Atmosphere National Oceanic Atmospheric Association or whatever.
Thank you, Bart. Yeah, but it works all over the U.S. They changed. There's about I think there's 9 NOAA bands. All these ham radios do it too, which is cool. You can switch on to NOAA with all these little handhelds. So why do I like this thing? It's got that. It's got FM. It's got AM. It's got a little solar panel on top. It's also got a hand crank on the side. You get your kids doing that while you're cooking dinner. It's got an alarm. It's got all these charging ports. It's got this flashlight. Oh, sorry.
I see you, Chris.
So it's got a reading right there. It's a really, really neat little radio. So this is this type of thing I'm like, Mom, you need to have this thing. You just need to have this, Mom. Okay. So pass that around. It's a CR 2009. I highly recommend getting one of those. You got one?
It's on Amazon, of course.
Another form of communication that's becoming more popular is very techy, but I've been slowly getting into it. It's called Meshtastic. So Meshtastic is becoming big in the prepper community. This is a little Meshtastic radio, and it works on very small amounts of power, and it uses little tiny packets to send messages. So this will Bluetooth to my phone. So there's a Meshtastic application, right? So I open up Meshtastic, it Bluetooths to this. So let's say I'm in a grid down situation. My phone doesn't connect to cell towers, but it still turns on, right? And Bluetooth still works. That doesn't require any infrastructure. That's just your phone. So this will Bluetooth via Meshtastic through the app, and you can start building little networks and sending and receiving with this. It's very techy. It's still, I think, kind of in the early stages, and it's getting better. But this is another form, and it's completely off the grid, right? I've got one here. My buddy 3D printed this. There's a Meshtastic radio in there, and I've got a little solar panel, and I can just stick this on my roof, and it should run indefinitely, right? So I can put this on top of my roof, Bluetooth it from inside my house, and maybe get my wife a few blocks away or downtown if she's on her Meshtastic. So Meshtastic, another form that's getting popular.
Are those just speak to the
each other?
Their line of sight, but they also do some, so it's called, the mesh system is you can bounce signals through other people's radios, right? So if I have one, my friend Z's back there, he's got a mesh-tastic. If I bounce it to him, I could probably bounce to him, and he bounces that signal without doing anything. It just does it, and it bounces it further. So there's been documented cases of people having mesh-tastic radio calls, hundreds of miles, but very techy, but good stuff. Okay, what else? Any more questions on radios before I move on?
What would if you wanted to be able to communicate with somebody across the states, anything could happen, what's the most reliable one to you?
The most reliable is going to be ham.
Okay.
Yep. So ham HF, when you get into the HF spectrum, you're building antennas and you're bouncing signals off of the ionosphere and making really long distance communication shots.
Okay.
That's the best, most reliable way.
And if you have one of those, and you might have said this before, but I'm trying to remember. If you had one of those, say you had a family member you wanted to communicate with states away, they would not necessarily need the ham radio. You could communicate, if you had it, to one of these, someone else.
So they're going to have an HF radio, an HF ham radio that's going to be able to receive and transmit in
So
these
they have
lower.
to have the whole setup
Yeah,
too.
in those.
License as well?
But where's that yellow thing?
I hear you.
That you can receive. It will receive some HF band. So
legally?
Legally.
Okay.
It's got an HF button on it. I haven't tried it, but it's supposed to be able to. So there is a way around that.
There might be a way around.
Yeah.
So if you need to get a message out,
Yeah.
whatever, if you've got some
Right.
type of brevity or code for your family, if you know, hey, an emergency, part of your FERP, your emergency plan, right? You develop, be like, hey, if you don't hear from me in this amount of time, or whatever, we'll create what's called a comms window. Turn to this frequency on this and listen for these code words. Kind of like a number station type deal.
Any other questions about radios? Yes.
So when we were evacuating from the Walnut Canyon fire, I was in one car in the back and my son was in front of me. We couldn't communicate with each other because the cell towers were overloaded. So what would it be, the family radio service that would have been what we could have used?
Totally.
Just thinking forward.
Yeah. If you're in car to car, that's an easy solution. Line of sight. You can't get too far away, but those are going to work. These are cheap. You can get a 4-pack for $60 or something. Throw them in the glove box, and all the channels are going to be the same. And they're going to talk to all those other FRS radios.
GMRS will be part of the car also.
GMRS, she's the simplest answer.
one,
Yeah.
Simplest answer, FRS. Next step up, get your license with the FCC and get GMRS radios, which gives you better antenna. And what else? Better power.
Did
Exactly.
you say you were giving these away, so I don't need to keep passing them?
Yeah, that's what I heard, right? He loves giving them away.
So,
At the survival unit.
Would you come to our class?
The networks that y'all were connected to.
Mhm.
What would you say is the majority being used out of all these?
ham and GMRS.
Okay.
Ham and
For sure
GMRS.
those. Okay.
Are they allowed to talk legally to each other? No.
No, what are you talking about?
No.
Who's watching if everything has gone down?
If it's an
emergency.
We are
So,
not lawyers.
Yeah, we're not lawyers. We're not lawyers.
But as consenting adults, what you do with your own purchase equipment is up to you.
Exactly.
So these are no stop it. Cool.
But here's what's cool about ham. You guys don't need to be licensed right now to buy a ham radio, start programming it, and just start listening. That's absolutely within the realm of your legal right. It's when you hit that transmit button without a call sign and a license from the FCC.
Okay.
But that's what I did first. Is I bought a ham radio, just started programming all the repeaters, learned all the things I needed to know, and then by the time I got my license, I was like, all right, I'm ready to transmit. So
How long do the batteries last?
they last a long time.
What about in cold weather?
These in cold weather, they don't last as long. Any more loaded questions? Yeah.
Hi Chris, sorry, got here a little late. Did you cover long wave for short wave for GMRS?
No, I did not.
Applicability Billy. And I don't remember how you can associate it with the frequency, and I'm forgetting that off the top of my head. But long wave, you can remember long distance. That's good for open plains. Short
I see what
wave
you're
is
saying.
better because it bounces off the ionosphere, and you can connect better at distance, relatively through mountains and trees and all that.
Right. FRS and GMRS frequencies do work better with mountains and trees, or with that type of terrain. Thank you.
Short wave, yeah.
More questions on radios. I got more seats for Saturday if you want to come to my class, please.
I was just gonna comment that I've had 3 hunting seasons in a row where just having that Baofeng radio, not even broadcasting, just being able to listen to the weather service, like it saved my life. Being able to recognize 36 inches of snow are coming in, you gotta get out.
Time to turn around.
Yeah. So just being able to listen, $36.
Just having it, yeah. Invaluable. I recommend everybody, if you're interested in this, just go online and get one of these Baofengs. I'll go get it in a little bit, but this is the Quenchang. I think it's a lot better quality than the Baofeng. Just my recommended radios. Yeah. What's cool too is you can.
All right, radio geek. Let's move on.
Anyway, they'll pick up FM radio. You can listen to the radio on it as well. All right, no more radios. Sorry, go. What's the next topic? All right, so what do we want to do? When we're talking about emergency communications planning, in the military we use the PACE system. It's a level of it's like amping up your situation, right? So what's my primary form of communication? Everybody's is going to be a cell phone, right? This is really everybody's primary nowadays. Well, we're all aware now that we're relying on it a little too much, right? So we build in what's our alternate. So based on what radios we have, if I've got the Baofeng, that's my alternate. Or maybe I'm not ready for that yet. Maybe my alternate is just that FRS radio that myself and my family, like you two, we know how to use. Channel 3. Let's go to channel 3 every hour for 3 minutes on the hour, and that's your backup plan, right? Contingency, maybe if you have the money and you've got the time, invest in some satellite stuff like the Garmin stuff. That's a good contingency, so you have another level. When you're out in the wild, that satellite stuff works really well. An emergency, you could maybe have Meshtastic. So I could have 4 different forms of communication that built into my own pace, right? And then we talk about technical and non-technical. That's what we say in the military. What it really means is electronic and non-electronic, right? Or analog. So here's another example down there. Cellular satellite FRS ham mesh. However you design that is up to you. So non-technical as a whistle. Could you communicate with a whistle? Could you teach your family and friends like how to communicate with a whistle? Maybe just learn SOS, or maybe learn a couple of letters in Morse code for that type of communication. Signal mirror, that's a visual thing. You need sun, but signal mirror. Flashlights, you could use flashlights. You could use an air horn. You could use a car horn. We have these things in the military called VS-17 panels. But if I was stuck out somewhere in the wild and I needed to signal an aircraft, it's a big orange thing. It's a big orange tarp. But it's another form of communication, right? When you're building these systems, I recommend don't do it all at once like this. Don't build it so complicated right off the bat because it's hard to remember. I have to reiterate with my family what our plans are, and oftentimes they forget. Or maybe I forget, but they need to go slow. You need to build, just build that primary and that alternate first. Be like, okay, let's introduce one thing. We've got this radio now, just this little simple radio. Let's just introduce that, and then slowly build on it, which goes into my next slide.
Real quick, does the PACE plan work if you're the only one that knows it?
No.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The thing about radios is the time to learn them is not when that emergency is happening. Like you don't want to be pulling it out of your glove box and be like, okay, I'm ready to call somebody. I don't know what to do. So you got to practice. Okay, so emergency communications planning. In the event that, so the grid's gone down, right? Now we have no cell communication. So we're going through our electronic pace now, right? Now, hopefully I'm talking with my family with radios, right? What if they're out of range? What if they're just not working? Whatever. Now we have to have some more plans in place so that we know where to go. What if you can't get back to your house for whatever reason? I mean, there could be a laundry list of reasons why you wouldn't be able to make it back to your house. And now you don't have communication. There's no digital communication. What are you going to do? You've got to have some places. And so I just use this as an example. Let's say we live somewhere around here, right? I've got a couple of, where's my pointer? I'll get a pointer out. Whoosh. Okay. All right, so I live around here. This is a very known point on 30th Street. Like my family knows where this is. It's easy to find. It's a big dirt area next to the school with a playground, right? That's a very identifiable feature. And then over here, Pioneer Park, very easy to find, right? Or very easy to go tell your family, hey, let's go look at Pioneer Park. This is location number 2, right? So we've got a couple of spots close to our home, right? Now we're talking about those rings of security that he was saying later. Let's push our rings out a little more. Let's start building in those other places, because maybe this whole area is cut off. And now you're like, okay, I got to meet my daughter. I can't get her on the radio. She's supposed to go here first, but she can't go there. I know that. If she tries to go there, she can't. Now she can't go here. So what's the next spot, right? I like to have those levels built in because I don't want to ever lose touch with my family. So again, build it slow. Build it slow. Don't bomb rush your family with information because it'll get lost, right? Any questions on that? Comments? Does anybody have anything like this built? Stacy.
Like what if just one of you can get to the first location and you don't know that the others can't get there? How long do you stay at the first location before you go to the next one? Is that something?
Yes, right. So you start to build that in as well. So you have to think through that because this can go down a pretty deep rabbit hole. So it's good to build this plan simple at first and then start building those things in, right? Like, okay, when we go to location number 1, where are we going to meet there? Okay, there's a slide. Let's meet by the slide. That's our spot. So like for instance, the Buffalo Lodge down here in Manitou, that's point number 1 for me. My daughter knows there's a seesaw back there. That's the spot, right? But yes, how long does she wait for, right? We don't have that built in. I don't have that. I'm not that far with it. But yes, you can go that far. And you could also go so far as to start leaving messages for one another. You know, you could leave a handwritten message and say it's going to be here, right in this spot. Something like that. It could be coded or it could be not coded if you want to be secret about it. Yeah, good question.
In our 2-day urban survival course, we'll break out that family emergency plan laminates that we've developed for you guys, and we sit down and we'll go through and start developing your plan with you and get you on the right track and give you all these little inside ideas to put those plans together. That way you can go back home and really fill it out and go over with your family.
What time you got? How am I doing on time?
About 20.
20 minutes? All right, let's just keep going.
Leave some time for questions at the end.
I want to get to food and water. Water and food storage. So I want to go over this stuff and kind of simplify it. You don't have to go super deep right away. I've been talking about going easy in the plans, right? You know, the prepping community, some people go so far as to have buckets of grain and buckets of flour. Yes, you can get that far, but you can also kind of go slow. Everybody heard of this? MRE? Meal ready to eat, right? Jerry right there works at Glenn's Army Surplus across town. And
shout out to Glenn's.
Yeah, shout out to Glenn's. But this one, why are these expired?
It's usually just date.
Yeah.
When it comes to expiration on those items, they're so packed with preservatives, they really don't mold or expire in your typical way. They just kind of go stale.
They just won't be as good as the stuff.
I've actually seen one that turned into a black tar sludge. It was
still edible.
So they have new ones. How much are your new ones? They're probably $15, right?
So we do cases of 12 right now for $60, and individual ones from anywhere from like 99 cents up to $9 per just single package. So
And realistically, how long does it have on the shelf life?
so
They said 25 years.
25 years?
yeah,
old, technically?
it also depends on how you store them as well. You want to
Okay.
keep them in a cool, dry, dark place. If you're out in the sun with them or you leave them in your cars, that tends to usually shorten their lifespan.
Okay.
Yeah, usually the one thing you'll see with them is the heaters kind of go bad with them. It's just a little packet, you rip it open.
Yeah.
There's some sort of chemical agent in a little packet. You pour the water in there, you stick your food in there, and it heats up. If that goes wrong, I mean, you can totally eat them cold.
You can eat them cold. Yeah.
It's miserable, but you can eat them cold.
And
But you'll be alive,
importantly, how
right?
hungry are you?
Exactly.
Hunger is an amazing ingredient.
So I keep about 3 of these in my car, just for an emergency, right? Because they don't require, I don't have to boil water to use it. I can just pull it out of the package. Like you said, I can eat it cold, or I can use the little heater and heat up the main meal. And it's. I took my family out for a little exercise the other day. We said, all right, let's leave the vehicle and let's walk about 500 meters into the woods, and let's set up a shelter, and let's make a fire, and let's eat this MRE. And we broke out the MRE, and we all shared it. And it was a huge morale boost. It's got like gum in there. Sometimes it's got some candy. It's got some Tabasco sauce. It's just, they're pretty awesome. I mean, eating them for.
They actually have condiments?
Yes, they have condiments. They have coffee. They have toilet paper. They're awesome. So
Is this just one meal?
that's one meal, but it's
Got
tons of calories, and you could probably share it if you're not doing anything active. You could probably share it with 2 or 3 people.
it feels like there's other stuff in here.
Okay. So dried goods. What I've started to do with prepping is when I go to the grocery store, I just start buying extra stuff, just because to get my pantry built up, right? And I've started to look at expiration dates. Some of the canned goods, those expiration dates will be a little longer, so I've just started building more of those. I have a lot of these totes. I started thinking about how do I package this stuff. So I started getting these totes off of Amazon. And why do I like this? I fill them up with a bunch of food because my daughter can carry it, and it's small, it's mobile. I can give it out. If my neighbors came over in an emergency, I could give them one. Here you go. This is the one thing I'm giving to you. So yeah, I just started building that into my grocery shop. Just a little bit more rice, a little bit more canned goods. I'm starting to get some variety in my pantry. Emergency food buckets. You can go on Amazon and you can get these emergency food buckets. Same thing, long. They say 25-year shelf life. So I'll buy those once in a while. I've got like 8 of them or something. They're about $100 each though, so it's not a lot of money. Rain barrels. So collecting rainwater. Why would you want to store up your water, right? For obvious reasons. You need water to survive. You can legally collect rainwater in Colorado now. You can have 110 gallons legally. And so you can get some rain barrels, set them up, put them on your gutter, and start keeping that stuff. Bottled water, same thing. This is one thing I'm trying to do with my mother, is tell her, she lives in New York. I'm like, Mom, just buy some bottled water, okay? I just want you to have a case of bottled water in your basement. And I sent her one of those buckets for Christmas. That was your Christmas present. Here's your emergency food bucket. So bottled water, store-bought, BPA-free water jugs, 1 to 7 gallon stackable containers. I'll show that. Keep it out of the sunlight. Keep it in a cool area. Put it in the basement. Keep it off concrete floors. Next. Go ahead. Here's some picks. So this is a rain barrel. I've got a couple of those at my house. It's a 55-gallon rain barrel. We've drank right out of it. The thing fills up really quick. When it's hooked up to your gutter and there's a couple of rainstorms, that thing will just be full. Stackable water containers, you can do those too. The advantage of that is you can move them. You're not going to be able to move that 55-gallon drum, right? You've got a spigot, and it's probably permanent until it runs out. These you can break apart. You can move in smaller pieces. There's the food bucket. Ready-wise, we've got a bunch of varieties of those.
Tried those, are pretty good.
What's that?
The Ready Wise, they're pretty good.
Oh, okay.
And they do have a 25-year shelf life.
Yeah. My mom said she was going to eat it as soon as she got it. I was like, Mom, don't feed it. She wanted to eat it. She's like, I want to eat it.
That's that depression era thinking right there. I get it.
Food storage containers, simple. Next, please. That's it. Do we have any questions about water or food storage or
Can we
radios.
go back a couple slides?
Sure.
Treatment on water for like
Treatment
the
on
rain
water.
barrel.
Yes, okay, okay. Yeah, I didn't get into that too much, so let's get into, go back, so we don't have this as a distraction. Go back to the blank slide where it's supposed to. One more?
Just this is the one she wants.
Oh, this one?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, so
Where do you want? What slide do you want?
I'm gonna talk about water purification, right? So if we get water out of the creek, we've got to purify, right? It may look clean, but you never know what's upstream, right? There could be a carcass a mile upstream. You might not taste it, but all that contamination is coming down, right? So you've got to purify it. We go heavily into that in this class. We teach you how to make homemade filters. You want to filter your water because you want to get all the sediment out, right? Those little pieces of sediment might have little bugs on them and little critters, right? So you want to filter it out. You want to get your water as clean as possible from sediment. And then you want to go a step further and you want to purify it completely. You want to boil it. You can boil it, or you can use water purification tablets. You can also use bleach, non-scented.
How long do we boil it for, Chris?
We boil it at altitude, we'll boil it for 10 minutes because water boils at a lower temperature at altitude. So where we are, we're going to boil for at least 10 minutes, a rolling boil, and that's going to kill everything.
CDC says 3 minutes. A 3-minute rolling boil will kill everything. 10 minutes at food is really close.
10. But what's the drawback, Jason, of boiling for 10 minutes? You're starting to lose your water. Yeah.
It's that risk versus reward.
Right.
Start getting into.
Right. Are you in a
Potassium
situation where
iodide.
you got to drink right then and there? Or do you have time to think about that and have you plan for recording?
So the potassium iodides, absolutely delicious. You ever tried one? It will not get rid of the sediment. It'll get rid of more of the bacteria.
Right.
The
The mixture of
put it in for 30 minutes. Let it do its thing. I mean, it's one of those things.
Yeah, if you don't
I
let
love
it,
the taste of forks and pennies. Yes.
if you don't let it go through that process, that chemical process for long enough, and you drink it too quickly, it starts killing the good bacteria in your stomach.
okay.
So make sure you wait.
Yeah, that's
Read the package that it tells you to wait 10 minutes, wait 10 minutes.
that's one of those things where it's we teach. Both Chris and I teach a 2-part process in the class, and we'll brief like we have a drink now and drink later process. So they got the straws you can drink from. I'm really thirsty. I need something now. I can
Life
use
straw?
those life straws. I can hit up the life straw, but I want to be able to have some later as well. I don't want to because that life straw is going to get used up pretty quick. Depends on the quality of the water. So I want to create. Here I got a little collapsible water bag. There's osmosis process out there, which we teach in the class how to do and processes to use. But I want to be able to drink now, and I want to be able to drink later and carry later on down the line. But that also comes with weight as well. So there's that risk versus reward in that. That's something we do cover in the class as well, how to mitigate those, make those choices.
Questions?
Yeah,
Time
we're
for
opening the
questions?
floor now for questions on anything that we covered in the class. For those people that are online, if you have questions, go ahead and send those to Jason, and we'll answer those. Let us know who you are. We'll answer those as best as we possibly can. So if anybody got questions on anything whatsoever, observations, or things that you might have experienced, or ma'am.
Can you cover this table?
Absolutely. So I'm gonna give you this little guy real quick. I'll break it. So what I got here is I got myself a little. Chris and I sat down and we went over. We talked it out. And we were like, "What in our experiences in some of the worst places in the world have you gone through? And what have you had? And what have you thought? Man, I really wish I had this. And I don't have internet, so I can't get Amazon. So what do I have to get? What do I have to make? So first thing we start off with a little bag, something nondescript. If we're carrying around a camouflage bag or a bag that's got a bunch of loops and something that looks tactical, something that looks survivable, it's going to attract a lot of attention, especially people who are desperate. Right? They're going to be, I want that, and they're going to want it, and they're going to try and take it. So I want something that just looks like a little backpack that you see someone carrying every day. Chris uses a laptop bag. It just looks like a laptop bag. It's amazing, and it carries everything in here.
I travel with this.
Yeah, it's got everything that I pretty much have in here. The the more skills you have, right, the less equipment you need. So one of the reasons why we put on these courses, because yeah, I can fill up a backpack and it weighs 50 pounds and it's got everything I need, but how far am I going to get with limited water, limited food, limited sleep in the environment with 50 pounds in the back? 10 pounds I can give this, I can tell his grandchildren, be like, hey, carry this for me, I got to carry something else, right? 10 pounds is really nothing. It takes up very little space. I can put this in my office, under my desk. I can put it in my car. I can put it by my door so I can grab it on my way out if I really need to. And it's got a bunch of stuff. So I just got a few basic items out here. So one of the things that I really like taking is a little buck saw. Yeah, which please. So a little foldable buck saw. You can get them smaller if you need. These are great for a bunch of stuff. I'm a huge proponent for one tool, many uses. Like a Leatherman tool, it's got all sorts of stuff. But if I can find tools that have many uses, I don't have to carry a bunch of tools, right? I can cut down branches for firewood. I can cut through most of the buildings around here that we live in the urban environment are made for what? Drywall and wood. If I can't use a door for some reason, I can cut my way out of drywall if possible. Another thing that these are really good for that we use for extraction, if I can punch a hole in a windshield of a car and I pick the corners, this little saw will cut through a windshield really quick. So if I need to get out of a vehicle, if I need to get somebody out of a vehicle, I just wear gloves, protective, protect the PPEs, but I can cut out a window really fast with just this little saw. So really great. We also recommend carrying a knife of some sort. I recommend fixed blades. I've got a little folding blade for little things, but if you're going to do anything heavy, please don't use a folding blade. The potential of cutting your fingers off is high with those. Don't ask me how I know. So a nice good sturdy blade. I know Jason sells some. This is one of his blades. Phenomenal custom made blades from his course. Absolutely live and die by those blades. A nice little boo-boo kit. I did have, or Chris had like a tourniquet, some things to first aid stuff, basic first aid stuff. Now you have first aid kits, and you have what we call IFACs, individual first aid kits, and then you can go into advanced. I've got a really advanced one in my car for big time emergencies, but just something that has things to stop the bleeding, things for disinfecting, maybe some pills for dysentery, headaches, certain things like that. In our course, I go over all the medical stuff. It's very important because I used to hate the medical stuff because it was so overwhelming and there's just so much involved. But I saw the value in my team members. I can't accomplish my mission if my team members aren't 100%. And I really loved my team members. My guys were great, and they would have more confidence going into whatever we had to go into if they knew someone was there that could take care of them. Someone on the team was there that they knew if something happens to me bad, Slow's there, he can take care of me. He is going to bring me home. And it just really builds morale. Another thing is little flashlights, right? We need a light source. Things can go dark quick. It's got a solar panel. It's got a little crank on it. Absolutely, analog, right? Another thing I like is a pair of pliers. I can cut fences with this. I can, grab something. My hands are so strong. Here in Colorado, it gets wet, gets cold, right? You just don't have that strength. Well, this is something that I can get through items with if need be. Collapsible water containers. Something that can fold up, that can keep out of the way. I can put it in a pocket. That, if I wanted to, if I have a hard container, it sloshes, it makes noise. If I don't want to make noise, I can collapse it down with the water that's in it, or lack of water. Another thing is PPE, right? Gloves. I don't have out here, but gloves and eye protection and some type of, N6 and 96, something like that, but some type of painter's mask, something to keep the debris out, especially in an urban environment, right? A lot of particles. I said I was in California. They had a lot of earthquakes. When those things went down, LA was just covered in dust from all the bridges that collapsed. I worked Katrina. A lot of particles in Katrina. It's always good to have some because if your respiratories, you can get some serious trouble with that.
Well, the wind around here. We had that brownout on 25 the other day.
Absolutely.
Something like that's going to be useful.
Yeah, so just a lot of particulates to them in the air. You want to protect those lungs.
gloves, hat, eye pro. Another thing that we like to carry is just some type of like a poncho, a basic poncho, right? Keep you out of the wet, keep you out of the cold. I can make a shelter with this. I can make a water trap with this if need be. There's so many uses, and we teach a lot of this stuff in the class as well of just some basic stuff. I can make a litter out of this if I had to, carry somebody out there injured, as well as radios. And this is some of the basic stuff, some of the really, really basic stuff. There's a few more things, a couple fire starters I want to add in there as well.
So ladies, you said you hike together. Is there a hiking crew?
Yes.
What kind of stuff are you taking with you on your hikes?
Meg's the one that's prepared.
Just Meg?
All right, Meg.
I don't carry a tourniquet, but some of the bandages.
Okay, good. So you got some med stuff.
Yeah, well, she came out for a wilderness first responder.
Oh, that's right. You told me that.
Good for you.
Awesome.
And that's something that we go over and on some of the basic supplies that you can take your or things you can improvise with. Multiple uses for a med kit that also pertain to just everyday use in the outdoors.
Cool.
Excellent.
We got a little bit more time for questions.
Is this something like you're just carrying around town with you? I mean, just stick it in your car, or is it you good to travel, or?
Go ahead.
I have a lighter one.
Chris.
Much more. Oh, sorry. Much more abbreviated, you know, because I don't want to carry this stuff with me all the time.
Kind of go by. If I'm just around town, I've got my hair down a little bit.
Yeah.
If I'm heading out of town, I might take the whole.
Yep.
Well, I keep this in my truck. I've got one for all my vehicles. I use my EDC, so I set myself up personally. That's my first part of my plan is me. So what I have on me and the skills that I have that we love to teach gets me to my car if need be. And then I use, if I'm in here or something happens, okay, what can I use this for? What can I use this for? I'm always thinking of how can I use this for different types of stuff? And then I need to get to my car because that's got my more important stuff. Now my car is going to get me to my bigger, more important stuff and so forth and so on. So it's kind of risk versus reward and what's my baseline and how do I work this into my everyday?
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? We're about out of time.
Someone had mentioned Glenn's over on South Academy, and I love that place. I think it's better than Amazon, so go there first.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, go to Glenn's.
Yeah, no, shout out for Glenn's. Be careful. Glenn's is a what would you call it, Gary? A surplus store, Army Navy surplus store, military.
Pretty much.
Surplus survival store, surplus store, absolutely.
Glenn's GLENNS.
Do you guys have an online site as well?
Yes, we also do have an online web store, venturesurplus.com.
Venturesurplus.com.
Yep.
Excellent.
So they are literally just down the street from our brick and mortar store. So there's tons of stuff. We actually have, I think we recently got some of the solar panel stuff. I know we have like water purification stuff. We always have MREs on that website as well. So if you come into our store, we can specially order that item for you and we can have it brought in for you. We also just, we can give you the details on like MREs, stuff like that, because there's actually, we have 24 meals separated between 2 cases, so it's not always just the same pork maple sausage patty, which I hate that thing.
Yeah, if you guys get a chance, where are you guys located at?
South Academy and Hastrazon, basically right at the corner.
Okay. Yeah, so not too far. It's a great store. I hate going there because I spend way too much money.
It's like near the Sam's Club.
Yes, it's great. Yeah, so no shout out for Glenn's.
We got some flyers over here for our courses for 2026. We got our business cards. We got some stickers. Grab a sticker on your way out. Please, if you could, we would love a donation because it helps us pay for this room and just helps us get better courses for the future. So there's our QR code. If you want, there's one here. There's one over there as well. There's one.
And if you guys go on the website and you see something, or if you don't see something, and you're like, hey, do you guys teach this? Or I really love to learn something like this. Like I said, between Chris and I, we've got over 50 years of experience in a real world environment. If we don't know how to instruct it, I go out and I find the instructors who can instruct it and bring them on staff. That's my job, is to pull people in, find those experienced people, those professionals, those experts, and be, hey, look, we need a course. You're working for me now.
So Slow does it on the tactical side. I do it on the, we'll say the wilderness civilian bushcraft side. So he does the.
I'm the director of tactical programs for Jason. So my job is to bring people like Chris in and to bring other. We've got an Air Force guy who's he's got a mountain course right now. He just put together, phenomenal dude. He's killing it, and he's bringing in all sorts of Air Force guys.
Actually, I'll get up here.
Yep.
So yeah, we actually just put the mountaineering course on the schedule. It's more of a tactical, if you will.
It's mountain mobility.
Well, we got 2 days of ropes work. So he's going to teach you knots and climbing and your basic just ropes work. And then we've got a 3-day class, I think, that involves you moving equipment. So if you have heavy packs, or maybe you're hunting and you have a large animal that you need to move, or you have to move a vehicle, who knows, right? He's got that program developed. But we are developing more programs for the Survival University. Like I said, I started this 15 years ago. It was just me on 10 acres of land. And then I realized that I didn't know everything, and I'm not the type of guy that would go out and take a class and then come back and teach it half-assed. I started scouring the country, finding some of the top people that know these skills way better than I do for whatever it is. I teach food, fire, shelter, water, don't die. Your core survival skills, that's what I do. But people want to know foraging. They want to know navigation really well. They want to know medical training. They want to know the tactical side. They want to know all these different things, and I can't teach that at the level that all of you deserve. So I've gone out and find all these people to do it. So now I've got probably about 20 different instructors that come in from all over the country here to Colorado during the summer. So instead of bouncing all over the country trying to find the perfect place to go, you can come right here to Colorado and teach or learn whatever it is you want. We do also do trips to Costa Rica, but right now on the calendar, I think we have something like 65 classes. There's a lot out there. If there's something you want to learn and you're not sure about it, you don't know what class it is, I'll get you in just a second. If you have a question, send an email, call a phone number, you get me. I'm the person you get to talk to on the phone. You're not getting a help desk in some other place. You're getting me. And I know this like the back of my hand. You got a question?
Is there a class on if there's an EMP?
No, we don't have a class. I mean, if anything, it's going to be under his class there as well. Yeah, there's only so much you can do with an EMP. Those Faraday bags, those Faraday cages.
We go over that in our urban class.
Yeah,
we go in a little more depth. I mean, that's pretty much out of everybody's realm at that point. But we do teach you ways to mitigate a circumstance that may happen like that, and how to protect yourself from those situations to give you a better chance, so you can apply rule 1 and rule 2, right? Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, if you got any interest in any classes, we've got a whole bunch out there. Again, if you go look at the calendar, it is totally overwhelming. Not much I can do about that because we do a lot. But like I said, if you have any questions, send an email, make a phone call, and I'll walk you through it and I'll help you pick whatever's right for you. All right, I'm done.
I'm done. I mean,
this was a great class.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys. You all know too. Excellent. If that's no more questions for us, and that's all we've got. And everybody have a great night. Stay warm, stay dry, stay safe, stay hydrated. Oh, right here. My first thought was